Bienvenue
Merci, monsieur.
chez Valentino.
Mhm.
Et are we on air for le rendez-vous?
Chic.
Trop chic, non?
Trop chic.
So, what is Are We On Air? Are We On Air is my little interview series where I kind of want to discover what the sound of your life is and kind of paint a picture through a couple of songs.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's because music, of course, as you know, is like a heart opener. You know, it really
definitely.
opens up to our stories.
So intimate.
That's
That's it. I mean, really,
yes,
it is really intimate
It's
when you
super.
give. It's like giving a piece of yourself publicly.
It's like looking deep
Yeah.
into your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't stress, it's fine. It's really
Oh,
fine.
okay, don't worry.
Yeah. So tell me, first of all, you live in Paris, right?
I do. I live in Paris since 13 years now. Ouch. I was born in the south of France. I grew up in a family where my mom actually couldn't go to school when she was like 14. She stopped so she could work and help family and everything. And my dad started working also pretty early. So my mom, it was like a big frustration to her, you know, to not be able to just like keep educating herself and learning about music and culture and everything. So that's something that she really transmitted to us. And she was like, go for it.
Do it.
You know? So I had that luck,
Yeah.
that big chance. So education and culture and like art was part of my life since I was a baby.
And do you remember like a phase or a song or an artist that your mom was playing, like
Yeah.
a song that really shaped you as who you are or your sound?
Definitely. That's kind of big, but yeah, Maria Callas.
Oh, that's what I always say.
Really? No way.
Yes.
Does he say that every time or what?
I swear.
Really?
You read
Which
any
one?
interview with me.
Which one?
Anything Callas, like
Yeah, of
literally
course,
in the
but
morning.
like you get your favorite one. We all do.
I know, I'm not gonna go into that.
Ta-dum, 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 ta-dum. The Barber of Sevilla is like one. Because what is great with Maria Callas is that she's so tortured and like she got the sadness and the deepness in her voice. But the thing is that with the Barber of Sevilla, you got the lightness.
Yeah.
You know, you listen to her, you just open to the world. You know, you're like, ooh, here's the joy.
Totally.
I love listening to this one.
Yeah. Because also with Callas, her story and her personal story is so integrated in who she is, but also her or the image that we have of her and Onassis and the heartbreak, and she dies of heart.
Yeah.
You know, like it's really like
She's a
it's
myth.
a Greek tragedy in
Definitely.
itself. You know, her
Definitely.
really life. That's
It's
why the music,
mythology.
even, I think, it's beyond the art. It's beyond the sound actually.
Even when you actually listen to the Barber of Sevilla, there's something that is and then just going high, you're like, oh. Let me my heart, please, into my body, just for a second. You know? Also, the thing is that, so my mom started singing, not professionally, in like a singing school when I was 2.
Wow.
And so she used to take my sister and I during her singing class. And so the class, so there were like tables all around and the students were singing in the middle of the place. And my sister and I used to be like under the table, just playing with our toys and stuff. But I was 2, so
Already
the thing,
submersive.
yeah, so I just literally learned how to sing the same time I was learning how to talk, you know?
Amazing.
So yeah, Maria's like deep inside.
Love it.
Yeah.
But from Greece, you have Algerian roots?
Yeah, exactly.
Algérie, mon amour.
Oui, Algerian.
Ouais.
The thing is that I grew up in that Algerian / Berber Kabyle family.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up with the majority of people who I used to spend my time with were on my mother's side, so the Algerian one. And in this Algerian family, the French one, but from Algeria, music was just
there.
a way of living.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you just go to a birthday and like just like cooking or getting ready for dinner or anything. Everyone is just like, you know, holding a plate and just like clapping on it, and then it just goes like, you know, and you just got the rhythm in you since you're a kid, you know. So that's so cool. That's a gift to
totally.
me.
Yeah.
Like that's a gift from my family and from my roots to me.
I'm
because...
Persian roots.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you speak Farsi?
Vale.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky. I would love to learn this language. Yeah, I love it. The only shit I know about it is Bodo, bodo, mo borak, bodo, inshallah, mo borak, bodo. I love it. You know the wedding stuff?
Yeah.
I used to know how to snap.
I'm like the worst. When
You
it comes
don't
to-
anymore?
I'm like,
You kind of have
no,
it.
but it's
You
fake.
kind of,
Like Goldschifte.
Okay, it's fake.
Yeah, she's laughing at me. I'm like, what
Goldschifte
Persian
is the
are you?
best
Yeah, she's so loud. Like
bam. Okay, so
give
so
us a track that like an Algerian artist or song that represents that.
I think it would be Warda. What's the name of it again? Sorry.
It's okay.
I need to check.
It's gonna be part of your playlist anyway. So.
Was it this one?
Ooh,
Was
love.
it this one? No, it's not this one. Ah, si.
Turn it up.
That is. And you know what? Like, I think a month ago, I went to one of my aunt. My aunt was getting married, but she's like a aunt that I decided she was my aunt, you know.
Yeah.
And this lady, Susu, she's from Tunisia, and there were only Tunisian people at this wedding, and that was insane because I didn't know any song. I saw like the way they were dancing was not the way we used to dance when I was a kid. You know, I was like, damn, is it like that different?
Yeah.
Because to me,
You
like
wouldn't
the
think.
whole,
Yeah.
to me, the whole north of Africa used to be kind of the same people, you know, depending on like where you go into the country. If you go in a little town and maybe with the accent, someone from Tunisia is not maybe gonna understand like what a person from a little town in the deep south of Morocco is gonna say or something. Actually, no, it's just another culture. It's insanely like, and I discovered it, and I saw my cousin that is like half Algerian, half Tunisian, and I was like, how do you know all these songs? She was like, it's actually Tunisian. I don't know. It was pretty moving, also because she's a baby, and now she's like a woman. She was like so independent and beautiful. You know, she had this incredible, super long, kind of curly hair and that nose, you know, and these massive eyes, and she's like so long and so young and so beautiful.
So long
you know?
and so young. I
You
like
know?
that. That's a tagline. So long and so young.
Anyway,
You remember a track, the Tunisian track?
one I know that any North African people know is Allah Allah ya Baba wa salam alayka ya Baba. You know it, right? Yeah, any Arab
Sidi
people
Mansour.
actually know it.
I've been playing Sidi Mansour around the world, like in the Hamptons. Like, I don't care. The whitest place on earth. And out of nowhere, some Arabs or Turks or Persians arrive. Like, where were you all day long? Suddenly out of nowhere, they're all like, it's so funny.
There's this joke that a French comedian makes that is called Gad Elmaleh that came actually to the United States. And in one of his first shows, he used to say like, oh, you know that racist joke when you're like in a wedding, like in a French wedding, and there's this moment when people are just gonna play like the Arab song, and everyone is just gonna search for you and be like, yo, this one's yours, you gotta dance now. But I wouldn't imagine that this would happen in the Hamptons, actually.
It's funny, like, I play Turkish music, Turks arrive. I play Persian music, out of nowhere, Persians arrive.
That's the magic of New York.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But going back to you
and
your life and your soundtrack, how would you describe yourself with 3 songs?
Whoa!
It's okay. It's okay.
That's tough. 3 songs.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be definite, but 3 songs that you would say, this is who I am. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know. I would say for sure a song that has been sang by so many goddess and goddesses and gods, and like, it's called I Get Along Without You. It's like a jazz standard, but the thing is that there's one diva that made it hers, and that is to me on top of like any version. It's Nina Simone's version, and it's called So I Get Along Without You. It's like it's really, really weird. I think the relationship I got with Nina Simone and her music because she got sadness, love, and tenderness in this song. That's the maxi combo. You know, you're like, boom, that's for you.
All in one package.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's quite deep and intense. And the problem I got with Nina Simone is that, to me, I think she's like one of my favorite ones ever. But she's like so deep and intense and sincere that I cannot listen to her every day of my life, even though she's my favorite one ever, you know, because
I mean, you hear the pain of her life in her voice.
Of her life, and the how would I say that? Like the truth of what she puts in her music brings me also to like my cheats and my fakeness, and you know, so I'm like, no, I can't deal with this every day of my life, you know.
Therapist, Nina Simone.
Yeah, I pay someone for that, man. You know, like that's too intense. But she's the best.
Yeah.
But that's her masterpiece. She's just, and this crazy goddess is playing piano at the same time. The way she plays pianos.
I mean, she was classically trained. That was her. She wanted to become a classic musician, but back then, as a black woman, it was like, imagine
the color of her skin at that time. Enfin, because of craziness of people that had a problem with the color of her skin, not because of the color of her skin. I get along without you very well. Of course I do, except when soft rains fall and drip from leaves that I recall. The thrill of being sheltered in your arms. Of course I do, but I get along without you very well. I've forgotten you, just like I said I would. Of course I have, except to hear your name or someone's laugh, it's just the same. I've forgotten you just like I should. What a guy, what a fool am I to think my aching heart could keep the moon. What's in store? Should I fall once more? No, 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 no. It's best that I stick to my tune. I said that I'll get along without you very well. Of course I do, except perhaps in spring. But I should never ever think of spring, for that would surely break my heart in two. That is so sad.
I know.
That is so sad. Thank you. That is so sad. It's so sad. It's the sadness. This the most. It's terrible.
No, it's great.
No, no, me seriously. Except perhaps in spring, then I should never ever think of spring, for that would surely break my heart in two.
It is sad.
Don't think of spring.
Well, we're heading towards autumn, so. Autumn in New York. Wow, fantastic. Well, you have 2 more songs.
Okay, so we said I Get Along Without You.
Yeah.
What else?
Now a pick me up after this. If you have pick me ups, I don't know.
Oh, I know. It's a song that is like traditional music from an island that is called La Réunion. Reunion. There's this guy that is kind of the Reunion Michael Jackson guy. He's super tall. He got a body of like a man that is an athlete and that is like 30 years old, except he must be 70 today.
Oh, wow.
He got like giant curly white hair on his head.
Yeah.
Massive glasses, and so this guy is called Daniel Waro, and he's like a wonderful soul, and he sings like no one. And so this traditional music that is coming from slavery time, it's called Maloya, and it's wonderful. And there's this song that is called Bam Kalou Bam that is, to me, it's a piece of me, really.
Yeah.
And it's in Creole Réunionnais. It sounds like angel's language to me.
Amazing.
And the thing is that I discovered his music during my first tour. We had what we called The Moon. That was the first, enceinte, il n'est pas compliqué ce mot, sound system we had, in the beginning of like 2010 something. Yeah. And so we used to have one in the tour bus, and we used to put the music on, so I was sleeping so much because I
touring,
didn't have such a good rhythm, on va dire, of life, let's say. And so I was exhausted and sleeping all the time. And so I do remember during a nap, at a second, I just heard this, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And they were like, yeah, Daniel Waro. You don't know Daniel Waro? I was like, no, because they were just feeding me at that time. I was like 17 years old, and I was with guys that was like,
sponge,
they were like 30 years old, super politicized and super like cultured about like everything.
Well,
so I was just like eating everything, like good cakes, And so there was this song, and I was like, oh my God. So I listened to it for like a whole month. And after this, we was going to play to l'île de la Réunion for a music festival. And so we went there. We made the show on the biggest stage ever. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And at the end of it, and so I don't know, I think there were like maybe like 15,000 people, like a lot. And it was on the beach and like insanely, everything was crazy. And there is this moment when I come back, what we call le rappel in French, when you come back after your show to just make like the 2 last ones. And so I come. Yeah. And you come back, and then I'm like, okay. And I say to my musicians, okay, guys, I think like it's the moment to do it. Let me just like enjoy one song, and then we play our usual one, but just come on stage with me, please, because I cannot do it just like being by myself on stage. They come with me, and they're like, is she gonna do it or what? And so I'm like, I say to the people, I'm like, to the audience, like, okay, guys, I discovered like someone that is very important to you, to this island, to your culture. And like, it just like moved me so much. I listened to this song for a whole month, and I learned it just like with my ear, So like, I'm sorry if I do it bad, just so you know, there's my whole heart in it. And this song is a song by Daniel Waro, and this moment I see like 15,000 heads going like vroom. And I'm like, oh my God. And I started singing like a cappella. And the crazy stuff is that in that music, when you're French or when you're Arab like me, you just go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But in Maloya, you go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you got 15,000 persons, people that are just going on 2, and my like, oh, I don't know that thing, and I didn't know about it. But the song is crazy. C'est trop beau, c'est trop beau. It was like, Ijaoualea, Tamilie la mer, te nave gros blanc, si pas trop longtemps, Ijaou dans le fond, si pas trop longtemps, te nave conoa, t'es comme les animaux, ça t'y vient pas ici, ça t'y vegan sang, ça t'y vient pas là, nana l'océan, ça t'y vient pas ici. Ça t'y vegan sang, ça t'y vient pas là, Nana l'océan, bam kalou bam, bam kalou bam. And then you got the whole
Insane.
band that is
Love it.
playing only
Yeah.
percussions. It's crazy. And you got also Daniel that is playing an instrument that is called le cayambe. It's like a square staff that is made of bamboo, if I'm good. And there are like so many stuff in it, and it just goes like.
Amazing.
And you're like, ooh, c'est tellement beau.
Oh,
Masterpiece. Wow. Yeah. I only have one more left.
Yeah, one more. Yeah.
When I started singing for the first time of my life in front of people on a stage, it was at my school. I was like 11 years old, and there was this cross, people running, and it was planned by my Spanish teacher, who's like an amazing woman, and she was doing this for an association for just to help people to find some money for a crazy disease that is called la leukodystrophy, by the way. And of course, instead of going for a run, I decided to go on stage. And so
you ran onto stage.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened. And so I was singing these 4 songs every year for every cross. And I used to sing every day of my life, I Will Always Love You. And I love this song. I still love this song.
Of course.
Like Dolly Parton's.
I was going to say, which version? Dolly's or Whitney's?
Okay, I grew up with Whitney one, of course.
But then you discovered Dolly, and I'm like, oh.
I was like,
just, yeah.
Even this. You did even this.
Yeah.
C'est genre. What actually impresses me the most, I think, is the fact that she allowed herself to put it down publicly. Because I think I could be able to write not such a good song, but to be that honest in front of my paper and my pen. But not if I sing it myself. If it's for someone else, I'm gonna be like blue, 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 blue. But if it's for myself, I'm gonna be like just getting in the corner and hiding stuff. And if you see Dolly Parton, that's not a woman that you're gonna think like she's aware about everything and that she's feminist and she's blah blah blah. And when you actually dig more about her saying and about feminism also, you're like, okay, she's the most feminist ever. She gets everything. She's just using all these cards so you can listen to what she got to tell you,
So now that we're here in our little Valentino store, when you get ready for a night out, and you're like, now that we're allowed to go out again, what's your go-to song? Just like, okay, I'm feeling sexy, let's go.
There is this song that everyone knows that I'm in love with, because also they sampled an Ethiopian piece of song, and to me Ethiopian music is like the best one on earth ever. It's called As We Enter, and it's Nas and Damian Marley.
Oh yes.
As we enter.
Mulatu.
Yeah.
Love.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I just can't fight against it. My body is just into it. My brain is like, wait a second. I'm like, no. I just need, I don't know. That's the way it is.
That's amazing.
I just dance.
I love
Period.
it. What's your go-to heartbreak or falling in love song?
Oh. I'm more like sending playlists, I think,
Have you seen that little post, the story, where it's like, don't send me news, send me playlists or something like that? And it's, like,
sure.
go to my heart.
I get that massive playlist that is called Treasures. And depending on who I meet, if it's like friends, love, other.
It's private or public?
I think it's public, but I don't communicate about it, so no one knows, I think. And depending on who I meet and depending on what I want to share with people, I just pick in it and I create a new one. Pop it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now I know where to look.
You do.
Well, Camélia, darling, to wrap up our little chat, if your life would be a movie, what song would play in the end credits?
It would be Doris Day singing Que Sera Sera.
Ah, very nice.
For sure.
It's funny, like it's one of those songs that appear every few months or years in my brain, and I listen to it like for a week straight, and it's just like,
it's
just
flowing on it, It just helps you to trust in the future, to trust yourself. Every time, when something very good or very hard or no matter what is happening, I'm just focusing on this, the good and the fair, no matter what. If it's painful, it's the good and the fair that this happens to me right now. And if it wasn't happening this way, it wouldn't have been the good and the fair. So I got to go through it and then move on. So, que sera, sera for sure.
It's your second tagline of this interview.
Boom!
Boom! Merci à vous.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is great.
Thanks.